Hey guys, welcome back to the review channel. What I'm doing is I'm pulling some logs out of the woods. This one was actually dead. This was basically it standing, but I had to cut down a smaller tree because it was lodged up in the top to get it out. But this is a cedar, and it's for finishing off the raised beds and the planter, I guess you want to call it. It's going to go around the rhododendron bush that I have up on the bank next to the kitchen that I've been really working hard trying to save because it's very pretty, especially in the summertime. I think that my neighbor got his new tractor. He came up here the other day and he told me that he was trading tractors and he was getting a new one. And I can hear a tractor over there, and I bet he's down there trying it out. But anyway, you know, a lot around here is, this right here is poison, and it grows a lot on the trees. But even in the winter time, these little hairs that are on here, they're still, to some people like me, if I get it on my skin, it just eats me up. So I've got to cut these branches away, and then I'm going to unwind this because it twists around the tree to the top. But you got to be careful when you're in the woods, because if you like I say, even in the fall and the winter time, when the green is gone off of all the ivy that's growing, those hairs on the vine, they still hold poison or oil, and you get that on your skin, like I'm highly sensitive to it. But yeah, there's a lot of blowdown in the woods down there. There's trees everywhere, not only blowdown, but you know, during the snow, it brought a lot of trees down. I've got one that came down right there that's lodged. I got several up in the hollow there. I've got still 2 trees up there by the kitchen that I'm going to have to take out. But you know, nice weather's getting here. It actually hasn't rained in a week. Things are pretty dry here. So what I'm going to do in the next few days, I'm going to go up and take my bucket on the front of the tractor, and I'm going to kind of smooth down the dirt area up there where I'm going to build the chicken house. Of course, I'm not going to level it out or anything. It's going to be built on poles, but kind of like I did the compost toilet. But it'll be level when it's done. It's just too hard to try to dig in the slate and the red clay around here. You know, if the dirt was a little more soft and didn't have, like I say, the slate and red clay, it might pay for me to try to smooth it out, but it doesn't here. So we just kind of build things on stilts in the mountains. You might have one side on the ground and the other side on stilts. But anyway, yeah, there's a whole lot of trees, there's a whole lot of wood around here that I'll be able to use for a long time. This bark actually kind of peels off when it's dead on a lot of the trees. Some of it is very difficult to get off after it's dead and dried. When it's green, it really peels off good, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. But let me show you the end of this. The heart still good. Now there's some areas right in here where it began to rot, but there's a whole lot of it that's still good. But I think it's going to last a long time, especially for that planter. Watch out the way. Come on, sit down, sit down, sit. Good boy, good boy. He just has to get right in the middle of everything. He wants to know everything that's going on. But yeah, of course, now if I move up a little bit higher and cut this off, that rot may have went away. But the center of it is really, really nice. I've got some really large cedar trees down there in the bottom, close to the creek, and I'm thinking about making some outdoor furniture, possibly lining my closets in there, and who knows, I may do something around the fireplace with it too. But it should make a whole lot of sheeting. You know, Now inside the house I can cut it 3/4. You know, it doesn't have to be 1 inch thick like I did out here. And then of course the chairs and the benches and things like that, it can be made out of stuff like this, because basically, you know, I can use all different types of random widths, and of course a lot of it will be poles, you know, especially the frame portion of it. But yeah, I went down there the other day and I was looking, I thought, wow, I forgot that these were here. So there's several down there that are probably about this big. Normally cedars don't get that big around here, but they were in an area where the canopy wasn't you know, closed in by a lot of other trees, and they were able to grow up, and they just did a really good job of growing, just let me say it that way, because most of the trees end up like this, or they grow crooked or whatever, and then they get blown over because of the root system, you know, is not that good. But yeah, so I identified those that I will be making, like I said, some furniture, and probably using some of that on the inside of the cabin. But that's been my project today. Pretty soon, whenever I get some time, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to burn this bridge again, and I may go ahead and flame brush a lot of this again, but I've got quite a bit of oil, that timber oil, left in that bucket. I'll tell you what, that is the best stuff that I believe I've ever used. I used a lot of stain, you know, and used a lot of polyurethane and stuff, but I really like the way that it covers, and I'm hoping, you know, when I come out here a lot of times water seems to be beaded up on it, so I'm hoping that it's going to last a long time before I have to coat it again. I mean, you know, you're going to have to coat it again because it's going to sink into the wood, right? But it still, it appears to have went on with a really good coat. But I do need to do this bridge because it's exposed to the weather, so I'll be doing that. And I'm going to have to brush this on, because since it's not flat, you know, but I do intend to put a coating on this and the kitchen. Another project that I have planned to do is building some steps up to the outdoor kitchen. The church is going to let me have some railroad ties that they actually had kind of a fence around the parsonage, but they decided to pull those up. Some of them were rotten, but there's some of them that are still good. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of like I did this right here. I will dig down and set those in the ground, and then I'm going to put gravel in between it. That way in the wintertime, because everything won't be landscaped around here, in the wintertime I'll have that gravel walkway that I'll be able to get up to the kitchen. But they've got a couple of huge maple trees that basically grew up, I don't know, somewhere around 10 or 12 feet, and then for whatever reason they decided to do this. The trunk didn't continue to grow up. It's got some huge limbs that are coming out. So, I mean, you know, they may have pruned it back when it was growing, I don't know. But anyway, they're fairly large, and they had somebody out there that quoted them $2,800 just to cut those 2 trees down. And of course process it and get it out of there. And I told them, I said, just save the $2,800, put it into something else, and I'll come over there and cut it if you all will help me load it on my trailer. And it may take a couple of loads, but because the base of that one tree is probably this big around. But they're pretty good. There's 2 of them huge, and I would say that that may make all the wood that I'll need for next winter. So I'm going to be getting that fairly soon, and I'll throw those railroad ties on there and bring that back so that I will have them whenever I get ready to do that project. But it looks like all my wood's taken care of. That he said that they were dying, so I'm going to go ahead and some of the big huge limbs have fallen off too, so you can kind of suspect that. But I will cut that up, bust it up, put it underneath the shed, and I'll have all the wood that I'm going to need for next winter. So It's not like I have a shortage of it because it's everywhere. Anyway, but yeah, that's one of the next projects that I've got coming up. Well, I've got several, you know, the chicken house, that'll be coming up, finishing the raised beds up there. Working on the inside of the cabin. Just got a whole lot of stuff to do. You know, people are like, when you get the cabin done, what are you going to do next, you know, when everything's done? I've still got a barn to build. I've got a workshop to build. I've got a root cellar to build. Got the chicken house to build. I've got the base camp down there. It's going to have a 30-foot deck that's going to be 20 foot wide with a kind of like a hobbit house on the end of it where people can stay. You know, I've got an entranceway down there that I told my neighbor that he and I would work together. That way we could put a gate on it to kind of protect the property. But I'm going to make a great big huge entry gate down there, so that will probably take at least a week. I've got so many projects and be a whole lot of videos. I'm not going to run out of projects to do, so but I forgot to mention another project coming up. As soon as the weather gets really warm, I'm going to probably try to get some topsoil in here, move what logs I've got unless I can get on that chicken house real soon, and get those cut up. I don't intend to put any more logs in the front. I'm going to do a little bit of landscaping. There's not going to be a whole lot of that up here because, you know, this area, I didn't dig a great big huge area, and of course I got the driveway up here, but I will have a little bit of landscaping, and also got in mind too, when I come off the front porch I'm going to put on the front of the cabin, I'm going to have kind of like some Japanese decking, you know, that goes off into different areas, and then I can have, you know, a garden area there to plant flowers and things like that. So whole lot to do, a lot of big dreams, lots of projects. It's going to be lots of videos. You know, I've also got a lot of these pieces left over from those 16 footers that I didn't use in this area right here that I used elsewhere, and I'm thinking about, we're going to build Smokey a doghouse. That's going to be another project that we've got, and I think that I've got just enough to build him a good size doghouse here. Of course it'll have to be Hobbit style because we may rename this channel Hobbit Bill. No, I'm just teasing. But we'll have to dress it up, make it look cute. But I've got, you know, burn all these. I've got several left that are scattered around here, but I threw all these particular pieces right here. I'm not sure. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I've got plenty, enough to build him a really nice doghouse. So we'll burn it. We'll make it match everything else, because once we get moved out here, then he's going to be living outside and running free, and that's exciting, you know, for him, because, you know, when we get ready to leave town, I'll tell him Outpost, and buddy, those ears will perk up and he'll look at me and he'll start his growling. I know that you've heard him on video before, and then he wants to bark, but you know, I got neighbors, right, and I have to tell him not to bark because you don't want to disturb them. But out here he can bark all he wants to. But yeah, that'll be exciting for him to be able to be out here and run around and be a dog, you know, and be the animal that God created him to be, and be able to you know, be out in the woods. Today he was laying over there, and you could hear these crows. They just kept going and kept going. They kept getting closer and closer. And I don't know, there may have been like 30 of them together. Anyway, they were flying over, and it caught his attention. He was looking up like, what in the heck are those? But yeah, I mean, you know, living out here where he can experience all that, so that'll be really nice. You know, the other thing too, I carried this around here and I stood it up because I want you to remember when I put the board and batten siding on here, I went ahead and put battens up everywhere, wherever the two boards met. But what my intentions are is to, wherever I have a post, which this is the area where I had one of my vertical posts, I'm going to remove that batten that's here. We are going to shave the bark off of this. We're going to burn it, and then we're going to attach this to the house. So hopefully when I get done, my look will be like I built it between trees. I had intentions of going around the windows with this, you know, cutting this off to where it would be square right here and just letting it, you know, extend on out to where it was flat right here. But this stuff may shrink a little bit over time, so instead I went ahead and built it with 2x4s because, you know, that's a good look too. And I still yet have to go around here and inside of right here in caulk. That will seal all those windows up. But yeah, I've got a whole lot of these actually behind the sawmill. So I will select, I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 10 areas where I've got a post that I'm going to have to select the best ones of these to go on there because that's going to be the look. But the corners will be wrapped. So you need to add 4 to that because it's going to take 2 on the corners, but it'll be a wrap. But I think that it's really going to look good once I take, you know, and leave all these knots and things on here and cut it to size and put it up there, get it screwed in, and get all this bark shaved off and get it burnt. I think it's really going to look cool. So don't forget that this siding, even though it appears to be done, it's not, because I still have to do that. Well guys, as I was standing out front talking to you about the slab wood going up on the side of the house, I got a phone call. Have a friend who called and told me that he was heading my way with 23 tons of gravel, so I had to run to town real quick, get him some money to pay him. But my intentions is to use this when I build the walkway up to the outdoor kitchen. I'll probably put some right there in front of the sawmill. Also, I'm going to put in a French drain behind the cabin here. I'll lay a piece of pipe against the bank, probably build a small retaining wall, kind of like I did these raised beds, and that way it'll keep the bank from coming on down, and it'll always be gravel back there, but have a pipe underneath it where it can drain through here. And of course it'll be underneath my back deck when I put that on there too. But yeah, I got quite a bit of gravel here to go different places. I may go ahead and move the whole load to a different location because this is kind of where we park when we pull in here, but you know, there really wasn't, in a big old truck like that, really wasn't any place that he could actually maneuver around to get to. So in order to get him on his way, I told him, I said, just go ahead and dump it right here. But anyway, I've got to get back to work stripping logs and things like that for these raised beds. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's little video. You know, there's a whole lot happening now that warmer weather is coming, and you know, you can see I think it's 73 degrees today. But yeah, there's a whole lot going to be happening here, and I'm just so looking forward to getting those beds planted and getting the chicken house going, and just got so many projects to do. But anyway, guys, like I say, appreciate you stopping by, hanging out with me. Hope everyone has a great afternoon. Take care, and look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time.